You're listening to Operation Self Reset with Jake Naraki, all about expectations. What is going on, you freaking awesome people? Welcome back to Operation Self Reset. My name is Jake Naraki, and I'm coming to you live from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where each and every week we dive into the world of personal development. And today we are going to be talking about expectations. And before I get into my welcome little statement, I want to share with you what the Google machine states as what a expectation is. An expectation is a belief that someone will or should achieve something. Now, you personally are listening to this podcast because some way, somehow, you want to achieve something. Achievement for yourself, achievement for your business, achievement for your family, achievement for your health or the children or the world, kumbaya. I don't know what you're trying to achieve, but all I can say is that there's two types of achievements. There's internal achievements, the things that we're striving for, the things that we're going for, and then external achievements. External achievements are what we think other people should be achieving. And I'm guilty of that. I put a lot of expectations on my family. I put expectations on my coworkers. I put expectations on everything that surrounds me. Is that good or bad? It's probably more bad than good, to be honest with you, because nobody really likes to be told how to live their life. I mean, let's be serious, right? You're listening to this podcast. I guess in a way, I am telling you how to live your life, but hopefully I'm coming at an angle where it's not very personal. It's more of like a general statement, like let's learn these things together, as opposed to I'm the pinnacle of life and you are not at the pinnacle and I will tell you how to live your life. I think that's how information usually is. It's presented in a way that allows you, the consumer, to digest it in a way that it applies to me and it's interesting, or it's not, and you just move on with your life without feeling like the pressure. Because I know there's some of you guys that are listening that have had managers, owners, people in the corporate world put a lot of pressure on you. And if you didn't have it from that, you had it from coaches. If you didn't have it from that, you had it from teachers. And if you didn't have it from that, you had it from parents or relatives or family members that put expectations or ideas on you personally. And so throughout this process, and over the next, obviously, half an hour here, we're going to spend time really diving into what expectations are and how can we figure out the expectations for ourselves. The reason why I say ourselves is because I want to focus on our own expectations instead of deflecting and putting expectations on everybody else. Because like I said a couple of seconds ago, nobody likes to be told how to live their life. And I'll be guilty. I do it a lot. I do it with my kids. I do it with my wife. I do it with my coworkers. I'm not the best individual when it comes to applying expectations to others, because I know that if I raise my standard, I want other people around me to raise their standards too. And the only way for that to happen is for me to continuously to make sure that the expectations are real. The expectations are out front, and I keep on pushing those expectations on others. Now, as a side note here, before we get into the content, I want to state two things. Number one, I'm recording this on Sunday, so there's trick-or-treaters that are walking right in front of my window in all different costumes, and they're actually looking at me right now like, oh, hey, I have a headset on, and I'm talking to myself in my office. Hi. It's very awkward. Oh my gosh, I'm closing the blinds right now. And it was a little child in a zombie outfit. What is up with the zombie revolution in this country and the world right now? I think The Walking Dead has really brought that to light. So give me a second here, closing the blinds. Oh my goodness, that's very awkward. Okay, the second thing I want to get into is it's Halloween time to celebrate, time to get a little crazy. And I lost my train of thought. So I'm just going to get into what I was going to say. Now, there's some podcast episodes where I give a sponsorship. I state, oh, hey, this is what's going on, buy this product or whatever. There are some of you right now that are listening that are small business owners or entrepreneurs. And over the last couple weeks here, I have been part of, or I should say months, I've been a part of a book that is coming out called Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner. Fresh perspectives on profitability, people, productivity, and finding peace in your business. I am a contributing author, a co-author in that book. The book comes out November 8th of 2017. It's a book on helping small business owners, increase revenues, be better networking, stay focused, and of course, finding peace. My chapter in that book is about podcasting. I'm basically standing on a pedestal stating why small business owners should start a podcast, the impact of podcasting, all that fun jazz. All I'm saying is this: I created a podcast off of that book. It's called Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner. Go to your podcasting app, wherever you listen to podcasts, and go and listen to the show. I'm the host of the show, and I'm interviewing the other co-authors, a part of that book, and we dive into some great topics. If that applies to you, great. If it doesn't, well, then let's get focused back into the content. Again, that podcast is called Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner. Okay, sorry, that was my little ad. Here we go. Let's start layering into expectations. Now, for me personally, the reason why I feel qualified, or I have this momentum or motivation to keep on drumming the beat of this podcast in particular, and to build out my brand and to build out on my ideas, to do my live events and group coaching and all that stuff, is because I had expectations put on me when I was younger. My father was a individual that was very much in the trenches, intertwined with personal development. He understood that if you won the mind, you could win your life. And in that context, there's a lot of great statements that come out of it, like winners never quit, quitters never win. Don't quit. Tough times never last. Tough people do. And those types of quotes were literally plastered all around my life. And I say that because my dad literally had a license plate on my mom's car that said WQNNQW. Winners never quit, quitters never win. Now imagine yourself as a high schooler driving up to school, going to sporting events. I was a very active individual, and everybody seeing a unique license plate, and they always ask, Jake, what does that license plate mean? Or parents saying that. And I would always say, winners never quit, quitters never win. Internally, I think that's a good thing, right? I mean, to kind of get your mindset in the right frame of reference to always state, winners never quit, quitters never win. Now, I have how should I put this? I have a love-hate relationship with quotes. I think quotes are really good on one side, but I also feel that you can really dissect and tear apart quotes that are iconic and classic because they just don't apply today, or they don't make sense, or that's ridiculous kind of thinking. And so I don't want to get into that rabbit hole, but I want to say one quote that has really been pushing my buttons in particular, I guess, when it comes to expectations. And I think the quote goes like this. I'm totally going to mess up this quote, but just bear with me. If you don't know my style, if this is your first time listening to this podcast, you're like, man, this guy is really disjointed. He's all over the place. I don't edit. I don't cut, chop, redo anything, because I feel that this is a personal conversation between myself and you. And if I provide a very clean, perfect, strategic message towards you, that it's not going to be real and raw and relevant to who you are, because you're somebody that's looking for more. And if I'm going to stand on my pedestal and say, I'm the expert, listen to me, blah, 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 you're going to be like, whoa, Jake has it all together. And then you pull back my curtain and there's just like a hamster wheel running in the background, and everybody's just, running around like with craziness, their hair on fire. So I want to make sure that I'm very clear in my presentation of understanding that I want to present as I'm like a close friend to you and a partner in this, as opposed to the guru of personal development. That would be cool. I think that'd be a cool kind of like hashtag Jake Naraki guru. But anyway, the quote goes like this. Abraham Lincoln, if you give Abraham Lincoln, or if you give a man an axe, you should spend the first 10 hours, or if you give a man an axe to chop down a cherry tree, and if he has to do it in 12 hours, he should sharpen that axe for 10 of the hours. Right? Something along that context. And I think Abraham Lincoln is in there for some odd reason. And there's a cherry tree, and then there's an axe that supposedly you get an axe, but the axe is so dull that you have to sharpen it for 10 hours. Something like that. And what it's saying is that there's a lot of preparation that needs to be put into the effort before you can take the first actionable step, which is, putting the axe to the tree. Now, I get that, right? I think there's a lot of good things out of it, like planning and procedures need to be, methods, frameworks need to be in place for you to become an quote unquote achiever to get those expectations. But for me personally, I'm the guy that goes, you hand me an axe, I'm going to see how sharp this sucker is, and I'm going to crack it at that tree. And if I think to myself, okay, well, this is a pretty girthy tree, this may take me a really long time, sure, I'll sit down and I'll start to sharpen that bad boy. But at the same time, if you give me an axe and the tree is medium, and right now as a 32-year-old, I have energy and vigor and I'm strong, and obviously I know you're in different parts of your life. You may be older or younger. It doesn't really matter. But knowing who you are, you either can know I can chop down this tree, or you're going to think, oh my gosh, holy bejesus, this is really ridiculous. I need to sharpen this bad boy. So for me personally, I'm all about let's take action. Let's see how sharp the axe is. And you know what? Even if the axe isn't that sharp, I'd rather chop down this tree and move on, as opposed to sit there for 10 hours sharpening a tree, as opposed to me just chopping it down with pure effort over the course of the next 2 hours. Now, you may have a different opinion, and that's totally cool. I get that. But all I'm saying is that quotes and ideas are really good in our world. They're a great message and a reminder, right? I think that's what they're made for, is just a reminder, as opposed to really analyze them and to really dig deep and go, well, is that really true? You know, like the next quote is, never quit. Well, okay, what if you're in a horrible relationship that is abusive? Should you quit the relationship? Well, yeah, obviously. You're gambling millions of dollars away that you don't even have. Should you quit? Yes, you should quit. I mean, obviously, the classic statement of never quit doesn't apply to those type of things, but we understand that they apply to achievement and goal setting and going after something that is kind of tough, that may not be easy for you to grasp. So, in all of that, what I'm trying to say is that I came from a background that there was a lot of reminders for me to become an achiever, for me to have these expectations of living life to the fullest. And I think it's great. And I'm very proud of that, because I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have that background. Maybe I would, but for me, knowing where I came from, I can see the dots connected behind me, and it led me to where I am, and I'm very comfortable and confident in that, and I'm okay with it. Now, for you, you might be thinking, well, Jake, I didn't have a father like yours. I don't even have a father. I came from a crazy background. I'm, immigrant that came over by himself and all this crazy stuff. Look, you are where you are right now for some odd reason. God, Buddha, the universe, the aura, the gravitational pull has put you in a position for you to have these earbuds on your head right now, right here, to be listening to this content some way, somehow. And you are in the perfect spot that you need to be right now. I'm in the perfect spot where I need to be right here, right now. I need to be present exactly where I need to be to make sure that you can get the most out of my content that I'm stating from my systems and ideas that I have kind of grown up with over the last 32 years. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, man, I wish I was you. And do not ever wish. Do not. I ask of you, I don't care who you are, if you're 65 or 5 years old, never wish you were somebody else. Never wish you were smarter, better, faster, quicker, you had better contacts, more economical background, you're born in a different country, you had different parents, all that stuff. For some reason, some way, somehow, you are where you are because you need to be there. And this is the springboard. This is your moment where you can say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to step up my game here, or I'm just going to lay mercy. I'm going to play dead on the ground like a lot of dogs do when they get intimidated by other bigger dogs, and they're just going to be at the mercy of the world. And I challenge you not to live like that. You're listening to Operation Self Reset for some reason. I challenge you not to live your life on your back. Live your life on your feet, moving forward every single day. Because the person that gets to the top doesn't get there with a smile on his face. He gets there with bumps, bruises, and blisters on his feet, but he can stand there victorious at the top of the mountain because he knew he put in the effort. He challenged and he went through the storms and the trials and the triumphs to achieve what he wanted in his life. And I apologize for my dog barking in the background. Maybe he's just excited for my comment of never wish you were somebody else. I bet you that dog doesn't wish he was somebody else, right? Well, whatever. I can go down this wormhole. I'm not going to. Let's continue down my own wormhole here with the expectations. So the first thing is first, where do expectations even come from? Expectations come from society. And they come from society because society puts a blanket in front of the real world through advertising, through TV media, through internet media and pictures and advertisements and all that different stuff. Okay, so then let's kind of go through that door a little bit. Okay, so we understand society puts expectations on us that we need to live up to, right? And these expectations can be anything and everything from a good job to great relationships. You have to look good. You need to feel good. You need to travel. You need to see the world. You need to lose weight. You have to drive a new car. You have to have a perfect family. You have to have a bookshelf full of books. You have to eat organic food. You have to be this like creme de la creme, perfect individual. And as we know, that is not how real world works. And the great part is that today in the 21st century in 2017, there has been more barriers brought down in our society of what the real world is transcribed or put through the computer screen or TV. And I say that because look at the big revolution on YouTube right now, vlogging. Vlogging is very huge because it's real, it's raw, it's relevant. These individuals are walking around cities or talking into a camera with perfect lighting or perfect audio or perfect anything because that's what people want. They want more real. And that's what I'm delivering to you, more real, to make sure that you connect with the information that I'm sharing with you today. And so, again, where does this come from? These expectations of all that junk that we need to be quote unquote perfect, and perfect can be many different areas. It comes from society, but it also comes from the advertisers that put that in front of our eyelids. And the ads come from companies, and those companies are run by people like you and me, people that are absolutely messed up. They have issues. They're not perfect. They have great kids. They have bad kids. They're in shape. They're not in shape. They're mentally stable. They're not mentally stable. They eat organic. They barely eat anything because they're struggling financially to get themselves out of debt, or they're driving a beautiful luxury car, or they're driving a beater, and everything in between. The people that are putting this fake facade in front of our eyes are people like you and me that have no idea really how the heck to run their life, because they're going through life one day at a time, just like you and I. And so I want to remind you throughout this process that the people that put expectations on us through society, through the ads, through these companies are as ridiculous as us. But the great thing is that they have, it's not great, but the thing that they have is that they have technology to polish it, to make it romantic, to make it catchy, and to grab our attention in a world where we're changing from our phones to TV, to our computer, to talking, to our phone, all different types of stuff. Our mind is boggling all in different places. And so out of this, I want to remind you that the people that say the world is perfect, or you look at them and they think, wow, their expectations or their goals, their achievements are super high. Look, they wake up some days of feeling great, and they wake up some days feeling like a hot mess. They wake up some days that they know that they can't conquer the world, and then some days that they wake up and go, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job today. The same with athletes, the same with business professionals, the same with teachers, stay-at-home moms, the same with you and I. Some days we knock it out of the park, some days we don't, but the only thing that we can do every single day is to keep on stepping with one foot in front of the next. So the next question is, with these expectations, we got it. We understand that there's a lot of expectations put on us by our society, but there's also a lot of expectations that are put on us by our family, by friends, relatives, parents, and if you don't have any of those, then it can go to our business associates, to our coworkers, to our management team, and if you don't have that, then you just feel it from the world, from being alone in the world, and you feel everybody's looking at you, and they drive by in their nice Chevy Impalas looking at you from afar, and everybody feels judged at every level in their life, from the individual that's begging on the corner to the top CEO that is trying to get into their private corporate jet that they're barely paying the funds on, that they need to quote unquote live this lavish lifestyle to keep that hierarchy of notoriety within themselves and around and with the people around them. And so we all have these different levels of expectations. And so the question is, instead of feeling the pressure of everybody else putting expectations on you, it's time for you to level up and to figure out what expectations you want for you. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes we get caught up in the whole idea of trying to fill somebody else's bucket. And there's a lot of young kids out there that their parents were all-star athletes, but yet the kids don't want to be athletes. They could care less about athletics. They want to play the piano or something, but yet the parents are like hardcore, hey, no, you got to do this, because they want to relive their glory days, as people have said. And we can use that example in many different facets, from getting a good job to a good relationship to just having a good lifestyle. We feel that pressure in many different areas. And so for you, instead of thinking, how can I live up to other people's expectations, it's about time we focus on thyself. Because if you can figure out who the heck you are, what expectations you want, what you personally want in your life, period, then you can fill your own bucket. And when you fill your own bucket, that's where the happiness, that's where the joy, that's where the excitement comes from. And those are keywords that we all want more of. We all want more happiness. We all want to be more joyful. We all want to be more connected in a way. And so the only way to do that is to fill up our own bucket. And a plus to doing that, you will also, in the process, radiate this aura of greatness that people will see you and go, man, you seem happier or peppier or a little more energetic. What's going on? And you can just say, man, I finally figured out me. And I'm just working on myself, and I'm not worried about what other people want from me, because I know what I need to do personally. And if I can succeed in living up to my own expectations, standards, achievements, whatever you want to call it, I know I'm going to do A-okay. And so for you, you're probably thinking to yourself, this is all great, Jake. It's lovely. Applaud. Amazing. You're the best. Okay, I know. Speed it up here. You're probably thinking, how do I go get past this, right? Okay, what's the next thing to do? I understand what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're throwing down. But for some odd reason, the mud is not that clear. The mud is still very, very dirty. How can we get through this together? And so for you, luckily, I put together a 4-step process. Oh my goodness, 4 steps? Yep. Where do we begin? We begin with step number uno. Now, step number 1 for filling up your own bucket, or quote unquote getting your own expectations or figuring out your own expectations, is this. Number one thing I said a while back was people should start to have their own date night, their own self-date night. And the date night consists of this: writing out, basically journaling who you are, what you want, and how you get it or become it. Now you're thinking, why a date night? There's a lot of us that always think that we need to go out on Friday or Saturday nights. We need to hook up with friends. We got to hang out with our spouse or girlfriend, boyfriend, or we have to go to these weddings and family functions and all this craziness. And we set time for everybody else. But literally, when was the last time that you put in your schedule date night for me? A date night for you. And I'm not saying you need to go to a nice restaurant. I'm not saying you got to spend money. You can do it in the comfort of your own home. Or actually, you could go to a restaurant by yourself. It sounds crazy and weird and creepy, but think of how awesome would it be to have a nice plate of food that's delivered to you. You don't have to cook anything. You don't have to clean anything. And you can sit there and journal and write out these 3 questions over a nice glass of wine or a beer, or just lemon water with no ice. Whatever your cup of tea is. And how awesome would that be? And so, again, I want you to plan in your schedule a date night for you and to write out these 3 questions. Number 1, who you are. Like, straight up, who are you right here, right now? Number 2, what do you want? What do you personally want? A lot of us know what everybody else wants us to become, but truly, what the heck do you want for you? Write that out. It doesn't have to be bulletless. It could be a page long. It could be a paragraph. It could be just bullet points. It can be whatever the heck you want. There is no method to this madness, but the madness needs to be that you set a date night and you answer these 3 questions. And the third question you need to answer is, how do you get it? How do you become it? Okay, how do you get it? How do you become it? So question number 1, who you are. Question number 2, what you want. Question number 3, how do you get it, or / how do you become it? So after you journal all that out and you enjoy your nice, maybe noodles and company or Chipotle dinner, table for 1, please. You write all this stuff out. You have maybe 2 to 3, 5, 15 pages on who you are, what you want, and how you're going to get it. The next step is to plan. Or as they say, you need a method. You need a method. So this is the second step. Now, if you look at people who have risen out of the ashes as the phoenix, right? The phoenix has risen out of the ashes. Oh my goodness, applaud. He's amazing. You can see that these individuals, and the individuals I'm going to name here, have gone through some stuff, and we can all agree that the people that have pushed past this are the people that are doing some pretty impressive things in their lives. People that have gotten over alcoholism, drugs of all different shapes and sizes, gambling, anorexia, and the list goes on. In today's world, gaming or social media or just weird fixes that people are truly addicted to. And an addiction is where your mind is almost running the ship of who you are, and your expectation for that day is to get drunk or to get high or to gamble or to cheat or whatever the case may be. As we know, there are so many different vices out there in the world today, and so these individuals that have conquered that behemoth of a mountain. I mean, a lot of us are here because we're like, oh, I can't get up on time, or my goals stink, or yeah, I'm trying to lose 5 pounds and I only lose 3 pounds. But these people that get over alcoholism or drugs or gambling or abusive relationships or all different types of things, or anorexia, all different types of things, have conquered like Mount Everest 10 times. I have never experienced getting over any type of those vices, so I cannot speak from experience, but I can only imagine. I can only imagine that it has to be one of the most complicated, daunting things in the world. And so those individuals that have conquered those feats, what did they do? They had a method of how to get past that addiction or to get out of that mess. For people that are alcoholics, they have the 12-step plan, right? They have a systematical approach. And for you, you need to create a method for you to reach or to answer the question of how do you get it? How do you become it? Now, I'm probably going to have to do a whole podcast on planning or a method or building that out. But all I can say is this: depending on what you personally want, here's like a quick tip. If you're like, I have no idea where to start, where do I start, Jake? The first thing is this: I would say get a hold of your bookends of the day. Get a hold of your morning and your night. What habits or routines that you can implement that can start to at least kind of put the wheel in motion here of what you want to get. And when I say the bookends is because everything else that happens from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed is chaotic, right? And so you really need to organize those two bookends because those are the two times of the day where you can take control of. And so that is why there's a lot of people that believe in waking up early or staying up late or going to bed early so they can wake up early. Whatever it is for you, you got to figure out your own method on when your optimal time is to work on yourself. And then I'm going to throw at you, if you don't know where to start, but you know what you want, then you need to pick up 3 books on that specific topic of what you want to achieve, from weight loss to alcoholism to moving up in a company or starting your own business or being an entrepreneur, whatever it is. Find 3 books. You need the book number 1 needs to be like new age popular, like the like it's not hot off the press, but it's a very popular, well-known book on that topic. The second book has to be on the flip side, the back end, as in a classic, iconic book that is very popular on the topic. So you got a new age and you got an old age book on that topic. And then the third book you need to pick up is like kind of the purple cow, as Seth Godin states, kind of like the oddball on that topic. It's kind of out there. It's kind of bizarre. Maybe it's a little more into the universe or, into, the more of the grounds of the world or whatever you want to call it. But you need to find one of those books to kind of give you 3 different perspectives on how to figure out what's needed for you to make advancements in that area that you want to achieve. Okay? So a new age, an old age, and then a book that's like the purple cow, kind of like the oddball, that can give you a different perspective. Okay? So try those 3, write them out, journal, take notes, and then formulate a plan for you to achieve that topic. Is that the one-stop shop, Jake? Is that the best thing that I can do? Of course not, but it's a starting point because right now you're in a position of starting this new expectations for thyself. And this is like the top layer here. Maybe I'll go deeper in other podcasts, but for now, that's what we're rolling with. All right. So again, first of all, number two can't even happen if you don't even set a date night. Okay, just as a reminder, set a date night. It doesn't have to be during the weekend. It can be during the week, wherever, just as long as you isolate yourself from friends, family, and it's just for you, okay, one-on-one time. So the second thing is to create a method. The third is bright lines. Bright lines are known as, in the industry of personal development, of things that you do not cross. Things that are identified as these are matter of facts. As you go through on step 2 of your method, you're going to write down things that need be a part of your daily routines, from habits to ideas to reading to meditating, whatever the heck you decide. You need to highlight those things with bright lines. And I'm not saying actually buy a highlighter and circle it or, color it in. What I'm trying to say is that you need to make sure that these bright lines are in place so you do not cross over them without it being seen. And the reason why I say that is because there's too many times that a lot of us go, I know I said I would wake up at 6:15, but I went to bed late and I was exhausted yesterday. I could really use 15 more minutes. And so we cross that bright line, which totally alters and messes up our whole schedule, our old habits, and we're just back to who we were. And then what happens the next day after that, the second day? We go, well, I slept in I slept in yesterday, and my day still turned out great. I can do it again. And then as we can see, the wheels start to fall off, and we become who we started with, an individual that is not filling up our own expectations. Then we start chasing everybody else's expectations of what they want us to become. And so you just need to make sure that we put in these bright lines. And the last thing I'm going to say about bright lines is this. You cannot allow your emotions or feelings dictate the way that you show up in your world with your own personal bright lines. There are a lot of distractions in our world today. We're exhausted. We're not eating well. We're not sleeping well. We have our phones right next to us. Phones are buzzing and dinging and buzzing and craziness all around us 24/7. You need to make sure that when you say you're going to go to bed, it is a bright line. The lights turn off, you shut everything off, you put your phone into a different room, and you sleep. You get up when you need to get up, and you carry on with your schedule. Feelings and emotions too many times dictate the way that we show up in the world, because the first thing that happens before we even take action when we wake up is we check in on ourselves of how we feel. When we wake up at 6 and we go, oh my gosh, I'm still tired. No bejesus. Everybody's still tired when they wake up early. So the thing you got to remember is to push past that emotion, past that feeling. And fortunately for you, I'm writing a book called Emotional Warfare. Emotional Warfare that'll be released in 2018. So step number 4 is a new vision. A new vision for yourself. And a new vision, I don't mean like, think of yourself as standing on the pinnacle of the tip of the spear and putting your arms out and saying, hallelujah. What I'm trying to say is this. Find a object, find something that represents the new person, the new expectations that you want in your life. My story real quick is this. My wife and I went to Seattle to visit family. On that trip, we went to go see these ice caves that were about probably 2 hours outside of Seattle. We went to these ice caves and it was unbelievable. I'm not going to get into details of how these ice caves are formed, but nonetheless, water gets cold, it turns into ice, but then a river flows underneath it, so it kind of turns this chunk of ice turns into like an arch. And under those arches are these rocks that have been there from the beginning of time. And I just looked, I found a rock, I grabbed a rock, and now it's my rock of iconic kind of moments of who I strive to become. It's a moment of awe, it's a moment of wow, it's a moment of knowing where I can potentially go, because on that trip was kind of the solidifying my new endeavor of this podcast, of the live events, of books, and advancing my own personal career in the personal development space. So as I look to my left on my shelf, I can't find it, of course, because I bet my kids probably grabbed it, of course, and put it. Oh, here it is. I got it right here on my desk. This rock I'm holding right here, right now, is kind of a memento. It's a staple. It's a identifier that when I see it, it lets me know that I need to continue on this path, continue on this journey. I have the momentum. I found this connection with this object. That's why if you look at successful individuals like Tim Ferriss or people on Success Magazine, they have all these different knickknacks around their room or office, like a picture of Buddha or a Buddha model. They have different, vases and vases and awards and books and all different types of things, because sometimes those mementos mean things to those individuals. And for you embarking on these new expectations that you're going to start to fill up on your own internal personal expectations, you need to have an object that can be around you that you can look at, you can hold, you can grasp, you can kind of think upon. And the reason why I say that is because I'm big into the visualization. I think that's really key. Sometimes we lose our path in the visualization because we think when it's time to visualize, we kind of get off track a little bit. And you know what? It's fun to do, but I don't see any result. But if you can actually hold something, grasp something with your hands, tangible, you feel it, you feel the cold or the warmth, or you identify with it, you smell it, you taste it, whatever it is for you, that identifies and solidifies the type of person that you are planning to become. And when you do that, you have something associated with that object, that thing, then it's like game over. You know it's going to manifest. It's going to come true because you have this thing with you on this journey. It's like a person that's hiking up the mountain. They just don't go up there with nothing. They're not nude as a noodle. They have equipment with them. They have a bag, kind of tools with them. And for some odd reason, I consider this simple rock as a tool in my journey, a tool in who I am, a tool that can assist me in who I strive to become forth. It sounds ridiculous, but again, look, you tried other things. You tried videos and audiobooks and all that stuff, and maybe those didn't work. Try this. Get yourself an object and have at it. So with that being said, those are my 4 steps. Again, the 4 steps are this. Number 1, set a date night immediately in your schedule to write out these 3 questions. Number 1, who you are, what you want, how you get it or become it. Number 2, you need to think of your method. How are you going to achieve that method? Again, the people that are alcoholics, they have a 12-step plan. For you, what is your plan that needs to be put in place? If you don't have a plan, get 3 books on the topic, a new book that is very popular, a old classic book that is very popular, and then like a purple cow book that is just like an oddball, ridiculous. Read those, journal on those, and create your own plan from there. And if you're thinking to yourself, Jake, there's no way I'm going to read 3 books, then I guarantee nothing's going to change, because you know what? If you do the same things you have been doing, guess what's going to happen? You're going to continue to be the same person. If you want to have new expectations, if you want to advance, if you want to change up what you're currently doing, you have to do things that push you outside your comfort zone. As I say, get comfortable with the uncomfortable. The only way to do that is to sit your butt in a chair or lay down or whatever your comfortable spot is and read the books, people. You have to do the work. There's nobody that's going to read the book for you and create a perfect plan for you. You have to do it yourself. Stop hindering and looking for the cheat or the hack or the easy way to do stuff. I'm sorry, I have to be real and raw here, but it's the truth. Do the work for you. Do the work for you. Maybe that's my new quote, new t-shirt coming out maybe. Do the work for you. Okay, and then the next thing is number 3, bright lines. With those bright lines, really solidify exactly what needs to happen. If you need to, get a highlighter, whatever. But also, 2, don't let those emotions and feelings step in the way of your progression, of you waking up on time, or you journaling, or reading, or exercising, or connecting, or networking, whatever the case may be. Make sure those are bright lines, and you're the type of person to blank, fill in the blank. I am the type of person to wake up at 4:30 a.m. I am the type of person to only eat vegetables, whatever your thing is, whatever your topic that you're trying to, or expectation you're trying to get. And then the last one here, number 4, is a new vision. Get an item, a physical, tangible item that you can grasp that will be a part of your own personal journey. Once you do that, I'm telling you, it's like your gear bag. You have everything you need right there in that object. You can hold it, you can grasp it, you can look at it, you can smell it, you can taste it. And once you do that, it's a part of you. It's like you have a team right there instantly. It sounds weird, but give it a try. So with that being said, I appreciate you. This was a longer than expected episode, but I think it was worthwhile and very valid. I wish you all nothing but success in the years forward. And I want to let you know that I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, and this podcast would not continue without your support. And if you wanted to do something special for me, please leave a review on iTunes. I'm trying to reach 300 reviews before the end of the year. If you could take literally a couple minutes, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Before I go, I want to do what we do best, and that's the awesome sauce sauce. We stand in a position of power and we push our chest out, shoulder blades back, and we scream at the top of our lungs, I'm freaking awesome. And we do that because we want to get comfortable with the uncomfortable and, of course, identify that we have more power to give than what we're currently giving. And the only way to do that is identify how freaking awesome you are. You're embarking on a new expectation for thyself, for you. And so you need to remember how amazing and capable and powerful you are. The only way to do that is to do something radical. And my radical way of doing that is the awesome sauce, where we stand in a position of power. So if you wouldn't mind, put your chest out, shoulder blades back, arms overhead. If you're grabbing the steering wheel, I want you to lock your elbows, tense up your legs, and I want you to repeat after me and say it loud and proud. Here we go. We're going to scream, I'm freaking awesome, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, I'm freaking awesome! Woo! Right on, people. Right on. So with that being said, we will catch you next week, Wednesday, for another great episode of Operation Self-Reset. Until then, carry on, keep her moving, and I appreciate you, I respect you, and I hope that you're setting new expectations and planning that date night for you only. So if you wouldn't mind, send me when you're going to have your date night to my phone, 414-550-4012, so I can hold you accountable. Until then, keep it classy, keep it awesome, and if you know of somebody that could use a little bit of awesomeness in their own personal life, share this podcast with them. We'll see ya.